guys? How you doing? How you doing? We are here and we are back to Hitchhiker's Guide for the Galaxy. Okay, let's get this thing started. We're gonna put Oreo Jr. Oh, did I show y'all him? He's so cute. He got his little Valentine's Day robe on. He ready, honey. It's never too early. Okay, well, let's get started with tonight's show. Okay, period. Let's go. The infinite improbability drive is a wonderful new method of crossing vast interstellar distances in a mere nothing of a second. Period. Can y'all give me that so I can drive and get to my appointments on time or what here? I need Scott, I need an improbability drive. Okay. Or an infinite improbability drive. Without all that tedious mucking about in hyperspace. It was discovered by a lucky chance and then developed into a governable form of propulsion by the galactic government's research team on Damagron. This, briefly, is the story of its discovery. Okay, we got a discovery story. We got an underdog story here. The principle of generating small amounts of finite improbability by simply hooking the logic circuits of the Brambleweenie 57 submeson brain to an atomic vector plotter suspended in a strong Brownian motion producer. Say a nice hot cup of tea. That y'all said all that just to describe tea? Douglas Adams, honey. Were, of course, well understood, and such generators were often used to break the ice at parties by making all the molecules in the hostess's undergarments leap simultaneously 1 foot to the left in accordance with the theory of interdeterminacy. Many respectable physicists said that they weren't going to stand for this, partially because it was a debasement of science, but mostly because they didn't get invited to those sorts of parties. Okay, they wanted to see her panties. Shout out to Erykah Badu because she got a song called Annie Don't Wear No Panties, period. And I feel like this lady wasn't wearing them either. Another thing they couldn't stand was the perpetual failure they encouraged in trying to construct a machine which could generate the infinite improbability field needed to flip a spaceship across the mind paralyzing distances between the furthest stars. Why would you want improbability to get you there? Because if you're using probabilities, then you know you're getting there. Improbability means anything could happen.
It's the way it's gotta work.
Okay, it's Douglas Adams' book, so he could do what he wants. Okay, wait, where was I? Okay, needed to flip a spaceship across the mind. Oh, wait, did I read that already? Oh, yeah, between the further stars. And in the end, they grumpily announced that such a machine was virtually impossible. I get it. Right, it's in the name. Then one day, a student who had been left to sweep up the lab after a particularly unsuccessful party found himself reasoning this way. If he thought to himself, such a machine is a virtual impossibility, then it must logically be a finite improbability. So all I have to do in order to make one is to work out exactly how improbable it is. Feed that figure into the infinite improbability generator. Then why don't y'all just use the generator to make? Girl, this is a lot. Okay, anyway. Give it a fresh cup of really hot tea and turn it on. He did this and was rather startled to discover that he had managed to create the long sought after golden infinite improbability generator out of thin air. So he just thought about it and manifested it out of nothing, like, I wanted a sucker. It just came out of improbability and it just came. So. My sucker, period. Just out of nowhere. And it went that same way, went to nowhere. It startled him even more when just after he was awarded to the Galactic Institution's prize for extreme cleverness, He got lynched by a rampant mob of respectable physicists who had finally realized that the one thing they really couldn't stand was a smartass. So this man that made this machine that you couldn't, that ain't, he wasn't a smartass. Y'all were jealous. That's called jealousy.
I guess so.
My grandmama used to have a saying. She used to say it to me all the time. She used to say Jesus was the perfect man and they unalived him. So just imagine what they're going to do to my imperfect self. And I feel like that fits here. That man wasn't perfect. He made an improbability machine and they still took him out. For what? Didn't like it. Hated it. That was chapter 10, by the way.
No?
Yeah, we just read a whole chapter.
Wow.
The improbability proof control cabin of the Heart of Gold looked like a perfectly conventional spaceship, except that it was perfectly clean because it was so new. Yeah, because it was stolen by the president. So some of the control seats hadn't had the plastic wrap taken off yet. Yeah, because he jacked them. The cabin was mostly white, oblong, and about the size of a smallish restaurant. In fact, it wasn't perfectly oblong. The two long walls were raked around in a slight parallel curve, and the angles and the corners of the cabins were contoured in excitingly chunky shapes. Could you close that? The truth of the matter is that it would have been a great deal simpler and more practical to build the cabin as an ordinary three-dimensional oblong room, but then the designers would have got miserable. As it was, the cabin looked exactly purposeful with two large video screens ranged over the control and the guidance system panel on the concave wall, and the long banks of computers set into the convex wall. In one corner, a robot sat slumped, its gleaming brushed steel head hanging loosely between its gleaming brushed steel knees. I'm that robot. Okay. I was listening to Dancing Machine. I was, thinking about Vicky from what was the name of that show that I used to love?
Small Wonder.
Small Wonder. She was a robot. She was like, "My name is Vicky. I'm a robot." Yeah, honey, to get this look. That is this look.
All right.
I embody all of that in this look. And this book too. And this robot sitting in the corner slumped down. Anyway, where was I? It was too fairly new, but though it was beautifully constructed and polished, it somehow looked as if the various parts of his more or less humanoid body didn't quite fit properly. Okay. In fact, they fit perfectly well, but something in his bearing suggested that they might have fitted better. We got President ZB. I'm just going to call him President ZB. President ZB paced nervously up and down the cabin, brushing his hands over pieces of gleaming equipment and giggling with excitement. Of course he would giggle. Trillian sat hunched over a clump of instruments reading off figures. Her voice was carried around the system of the whole trip. 5 to 1 again and falling, she said. 4 to 1 again and falling. 3 to 1, 2 to 1. Probability factor of 1 to 1. We have normality. I repeat, we have normality.
Right.
Scott, we have normality. Y'all, we got normality, period.
That's good.
We don't know yet. She turned her microphone off, then turned it back on with a slight smile and continued. Anything you still can't cope with is therefore your own problem. Period. Please relax. You will be sent for soon. President Z burst out in annoyance. Who are they, Trillian? Trillian spun her seat around to face him and shrugged. Just a couple of guys we seem to have picked up in open space, she said. Section ZZ, plural Z Alpha. Well, that's a sweet thought, Trillian, complained President Z. But do you really think it's wise under these circumstances? I mean, here we are on the run and everything. Okay, so sir, you done made this woman your Bonnie to your Clyde. This is what we doing. We just jacking spaceships and just doing what we want. Anyway, We must have the police of half the galaxy after us by now. And we stopped to pick up hitchhikers. Okay, so 10 out of 10 for style, but minus several million for good thinking, yeah? He tapped irritably at the control panel. Trillian quietly moved his hand before he tapped anything important. Whatever President Z's qualities of mind might include dash, bravado, conceit, he was mechanically inept and could easily blow the ship up with an extravagant gesture. Girl, they said he wasn't smart a couple of pages ago, so, we got what we got, baby. We got what we got. Trullian had come to suspect the main reason he had had a wild and successful life was that he never really understood the significance of anything he did. Okay, she know he's stupid too. Z, she said patiently, they were floating unprotected in open space. You wouldn't have them to have unalived, would you? Well, no, not as such, but not as such. Not unalive as such, but Trillian cocked her head to one side. Well, maybe someone else might have picked him up later. Sir, they had 30 seconds. This president is a president, honey. He's being the president of the galaxy. Okay. A second later, and they would have unalived. Yeah, so if you had taken the trouble to think about the problem a bit longer, it would have gone away. The homie said, "Let them, baby. There wouldn't have been nothing to pick up if you had just waited." Anyway, wait, where was I? You would have been happy to let them unalive. Well, not happy as such, but anyway, Trillian said, turning without back to the controls. I didn't pick them up. What do you mean? Who picked them up then? The ship did. Huh? The ship did. All by itself. Huh? While we were in the improbability drive. But that's incredible. No, Z. That's just very, very improbable. Yeah. Look, Z, she said, patting him on the arm. Don't worry about the aliens. They're just a couple of guys, I expect. I'll send the robot down to get them and bring them up here. Hey, Marvin. In the corner, the robot's head swung up sharply and then wobbled about. It pulled itself up on its feet as if it was about 5 pounds heavier than what it actually was, and made what the outside observer would have thought was a hectic effort to cross the room. It stopped in front of Trillian and seemed to stare through her left shoulder. I thought you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed, it said. Its voice was low and hopeless. Oh, God, said Z, and slumped into a chair. Well, said Trillian in a bright, compassionate tone, here's something to occupy you and keep your mind off things. It won't work, droned Marvin. I have an exceptionally large mind. Marvin, warned Trillian. Oh, all right, said Marvin. What do you want me to do? Go down to the number 2 entry bay and bring the 2 aliens up here under surveillance. With a microsecond pause and a finely calculated pitch and timbre, nothing you could actually take to offense at Marvin managed to convey his utter contempt and horror of all things human. Just that, he said. Yes, said Trillian firmly. I won't enjoy it, said Marvin. President Z leapt out of his seat. She's not asking you to enjoy it, he shouted. Just do it, will you? All right, said Marvin, like the toiling of a great cracking bell. I'll do it. Good, snapped Z. Great, thank you. Marvin turned and lifted his flat top, triangular red eyes up towards him. I'm not getting you down at all, am I? He said pathetically. No, Marvin, said Trillian. That's just fine, really. I wouldn't like to think I was getting you down. I like to imagine Marvin as Eeyore. 'Cause like somebody get this damn AI some Zoloft, honey. Does anybody have some antidepressants? Get this man some or this robot some. Just for FYI though, I am not like that. I'm not like that. I'm a happy-go-lucky robot. So just so y'all know. Okay. No, no, don't worry about that, said Trillian. You just act as comes naturally and everything will be just fine. You sure you don't mind, probed Marvin. No, no, Marvin. That's just fine, really. Just part of life. Marvin flashed her electric look. I don't know what the hell that looks like, but I feel like it looks like this. Y'all think it looks like that? That was an electric look.
Wow.
It's electric boogaloo. Life, said Marvin. Don't talk to me about life. This man needs some help. He turned hopelessly on his heels and lugged himself out of the cabin. With a satisfied hum and a click, the door closed behind him. I don't think I could stand that robot much longer, Z growled Trillian. Girl, how you over here acting? You be passive aggressive, man. I can already tell you passive aggressive because why you over here talking sweet to him? I'm like, if you don't get your ass up there and go do what I just told you, like the president did. The Encyclopedia Galactica defines a robot as a mechanical apparatus designed to do the work of a man. The marketing division of the Cyrus Cybernetics Corporation defines a robot as your plastic pal who's fun to be with. I would think they would be metal, not plastic, but you all know what the future. Remember, cars used to be metal and now they plastic. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy defines the marketing division of the Cyrus Cybernetics Corporation as a bunch of mindless jerks who'll be the first against the wall when the revolution comes. Period. I don't know what being against the wall means, but period. With a footnote to the effect that the editors will welcome applications from anyone interested in taking over the post of robots correspondence. Curiously enough, an edition of the Encyclopedia Galactica that had the good fortune to fall through a time warp from 1,000 years in the future defied the marketing division of the Cyrus Cybernetics Corporation as a bunch of mindless jerks who were the first against the wall when the revolution came. Okay, everybody agreed throughout time, period. Period. The pink cubicle had winked out of existence. The monkeys had sunk away to a better dimension. Ford and Arthur found themselves in the embankment area of the ship. It was rather smart. I think the ship's brand new, said Ford. How can you tell? Asked Arthur. Have you ever seen have you got some exotic device for measuring the age of metal? No. I just found the sales brochure lying on the floor. It's a lot of the universe can be yours stuff. Ah, look, I was right. Ford jabbed at one of the pages and showed it to Arthur. It says, sensational new breakthrough in improbability physics. As soon as the ship's drive reaches infinite improbability, it passes through every point in the universe. Be the envy of other major governments. Wow, this is big league stuff. Ford hunted excitedly through the text specs of the ship, occasionally gasping with astonishment at what he read. Clearly, galactic astro technology was moving ahead during the years he was in exile. Arthur listened for a short while, but being unable to understand the vast majority of what Ford was saying, he began to let his mind wander. Wait a minute. So, sir, you lost your house. The earth is blowed up. You done been on a spaceship. You discovered there are aliens. Been on one spaceship with bad poetry, bad rap, whatever. And now you on a whole nother ship and you ain't had a nervous breakdown or nothing? Because I would be crying. But that's just me. But okay, let's see where he's at here. He reached out and pressed an invitingly large red button on a nearby panel. The panel lit up with the words, "Please do not touch this button again." He shook himself. Listen, said Ford, who was still engrossed in the sales brochure. They make a big thing of the ship's cybernetics. A new generation of Cybernetics Corporation robots and computers with the new GPP feature. GPP feature, said Arthur. What's that? Oh, it says genuine people's personalities. Oh, said Arthur. Sounds ghastly. A voice behind them said, It is. The voice was low and hopeless and accompanied by a slight clanking sound. They spun around and saw an abject steel man standing hunched in the doorway. What? They said. Ghastly, continued Marvin. It all is absolutely ghastly. Just don't even talk about it. Look at this door, he said, stepping through it. The irony circus cut into his voice modular as he mimicked the style of the sales brochure. All the doors in this spaceship have a cheery and sunny disposition. Now, how the hell he get his disposition? Anyway, it is their pleasure to open for you and their satisfaction to close again with the knowledge of a job well done. Okay, girl, this sounding naughty. As the door closed behind them, it became apparent that it did indeed have a satisfied sigh-like quality to it. It said. No, it really says that right here.
Okay.
It really is making some noises here, okay? That's what it says. I didn't write the book. Douglas Adams did.
All right.
Period. Marvin regarded it with cold loathing while his logic circuits chattered with disgust and tinkered with the concept of directing physical violence against it. Further circuits cut in saying, why bother? What's the point? Nothing is worth getting involved in. Period. This man is nihilistic. This is a nihilistic robot. Okay, period. Further circuits amuse themselves by analyzing the components of the door and of the humanoid's brain cells. For a quick encore, they measured the level of hydrogen emissions in the surrounding cube of space and then shut down again in boredom. A spasm of despair shook the robot's body as he turned. Come on, he droned. I've been ordered to take you down to the bridge. I feel like he sounds like a teenager. I feel like that's what he sounds like, Marvin. Like, my mom made me come up here and get you. Come on. Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and they asked me to take you down the bridge. Call that job satisfaction, because I don't. What do y'all think he sounds like? Put in the comment section. Scott, what do you think Marvin sounds like? Okay, Scott don't know.
Yeah, thought I had something, but I lost it.
He turned and walked down the hated door, or walked back to the hated door. Excuse me, said Ford, following after him. Which government owns this ship? Marvin ignored him. You watch this door, he said. It's about to open again. I can tell by the intolerable air of smugness it suddenly generates. With a little whine, the door slid open again. Marvin stumped through. Come on, he said. The others followed quickly, and the door slid back into place with pleased little clicks and whirls. Thank you, the marketing division of Cybernetics Corporation, said Marvin, and shrugged up the gleaming curved corridor that stretched out before them. Let's build robots with I gotta say it in his voice. Let's build robots with genuine people personalities, they said. So they tried it out with me. I'm a personality prototype. You can tell, can't you? Ford and Arthur mumbled embarrassed little disclaimers. I would have been like, sir, you getting on my nerves. I hate you. I would have just told him what I thought. Well, actually, I don't hate him. I think Marvin's like the best character in this book, but that's just me. I hate that door, continued Marvin. I'm not getting you down at all, am I? Which government started Ford again? No government owns it, snapped the robot. It's been stolen. Stolen? Stolen, mimicked Marvin. By who? Asked Ford. ZB. Something extraordinary happened to Ford's face. At least 5 entirely separate and distinct expressions of shock and amazement piled up on it in a jumbled mess. His left leg, which was in mid stride, seemed to have difficulty in finding the floor again. He stared at the robot and tried to disentangle some muscles. ZB, he said weakly. Sorry, did I say something wrong? Said Marvin, dragging himself on regardless. Pardon me for breathing, which I never do anyway, so I don't know why I bother to say it. Oh God, I'm so depressed. Here's another of those self satisfied doors. Life. Don't talk to me about life. No one even mentioned it, said Arthur irritably. Ford, are you all right? Ford stared at him. Did the robot say CB? He said. That's the end of those 2 chapters, period.
All right.
Okay, you guys, what did y'all learn from this chapter besides that Marvin needs all the depressants. He need a lot. Okay? He need a woman and some antidepressants and some money. But what do y'all think? Put it in or what did y'all learn from these 2 chapters? Put it in the comment section. Scott, what did you learn?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't know a robot could be so depressed.
It has a genuine personality, just like me.
Well,
excuse me, sorry, I had to sneeze. Sorry. Okay, so you learned that robots can have personalities?
well, yeah, well, I didn't know they could have personalities.
ChatGPT has personality.
Does it?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
What I learned from this is sometimes when you're inventing or you're putting your creative process out there, or you manifest the things that that you want to see happen, sometimes people get jealous and they'll just take it from you or do something to what's the word I'm thinking about, to sabotage what you're doing. So be careful, okay? Only be around people that celebrate your success. Because them little physicists were not celebrating the success, and that man ended up lynched, period, because they was jealous. Yeah, they were some jealous people. You thought I was going to talk about Marvin, didn't you? But Marvin is not to be talked about because that's my boo.
All right.
I am a robot.
You are.
Yeah. I represent my clique, period. Okay. So with that, did you have anything else, Scott?
I do not.
Okay, let me get Okay, so with that, guys, we're going to bid you guys adieu. It's getting kind of crazy over here. We done met a depressed robot, so this story is getting where it needs to go, I guess. So with that, we are going to end this. Of course, we always appreciate you coming. We hope you guys enjoy hanging out with us. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, check out some other lives. So with that, we're going to bid you adieu. So from wherever we are, that includes anywhere in the galaxy, okay, to wherever you are, peace, love, and happiness, darling, and Skinnamarink Dinky Dink. We'll see you guys. I don't know what day this week. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see you guys definitely on Friday. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.